Hey YouTube, Jake Kilroy here, a little shop ADHD, a little bit of everything going on. Did a little work on the new lathe, the new Martin lathe, got some work done on that. We're going to cover that right here in a little bit. We're also going to go over and take a look at the carriage and go over the controls. Somebody mentioned in a message that I hadn't gone over that very thoroughly in the first video, and actually I didn't go over it at all, so we're going to go over that today. We do have some new tool acquisitions for the Martin. Got a drill arbor, little new old stock Jacobs there, and got a drill chuck. Both of these are eBay finds, but these are available. This is a Rome chuck. This is a Rome BB26. It has a Jacobs taper number 5, which this is. It's the largest of the Jacobs tapers. And it has a capacity from 3/16 to 1 1/32. So this is kind of your Rome equivalent of a 20 sized Jacobs. The difference is these are new in the box for about $90 on eBay. And it's a nice chuck. It's a keyed chuck, which is all that I use on a lathe, and it's well made. So we're going to put this arbor in here, get this ready. This is the 5 Morse taper, which is the tail stock. Little Loctite goodness. I'm out of 648, which I refer to as the glue of the gods. So we're going to use some 638. Both the surfaces are dry and clean, and pressed in there. I think there was a gunshot outside. If you don't mind, give me a moment. I'm going to go check that out. Alright, wasn't a gunshot. Never mind. Put the new drill chuck over at the lathe there. Toss that. I'm going to keep these. Got some other stuff for the lathe. Got a couple of these, they call them high pressure oilers. It's the push style oilers. These came from Zorro on eBay. They come with a couple of tips. They come with a pointed tip. Come with a pointed tip, and they come with a tip for a Zerk. I don't know how good it is, but we're going to give it a shot. I have ordered a manual for the lathe from the site that everybody refers to as Tony's site, the UK lathe site. It is a reprint of an English manual along with a reprint of an original accessories catalog that went with the lathe. I'm sure that'll kick off boundless searches through eBay and other places. But anyway, it's on the way. Coming via airmail across the pond, so I don't know quite how long that takes, but total cost for me, including shipping, was about $68 US. So there we go. I did power the machine up in order to try to ascertain how big the motor is. I'm pretty sure it's a 10 horsepower motor. And before I start ordering more electrical components to go in the box, I'd like to know what I'm dealing with current-wise in order to limit my spending a little bit. I did make a rather nasty discovery on a lathe, or I caused rather nasty. I was going through speeds and feeds in the quick change gearbox. Put the, and I'll bring the camera over and show you this. It has a rather unusual gear selector that pulls out and then indexes into one of 8 positions. I put it in position 6, and fired the machine up. The machine was running. I pulled the lever down to engage the clutch, and promptly raked the teeth off of 2 of the gears in my gear train on my change gear setup. Of course, surprise, surprise, they're phenolic. Who knew? I mean, they were so covered with grease, I couldn't tell they were phenolic. So anyway, yeah, they were phenolic, and one of the gears is fine. Unfortunately, the largest gear in the set, 118 tooth gear, was damaged. As you can see here, this is the output from the gear case into the gear train. This is the input gear into the quick change gearbox. They're both identical. They are 59 tooth, 1.75 module gears with an 18 millimeter face. And these are steel, quality steel too. You can't really scratch it. It's pretty dang hard. So anyway, so those are the gears. So I took some pictures, and I'll show the picture. I'll post the picture up into the video now for you to see the various gear train setups. And the gear train setup that I'm looking for is the first one that I'll show you. And these are the various gears that are needed in order to cut inch threads. So it's a 60 tooth gear coming out of the gearbox that you see at the top there, driving a 115 tooth gear, which drives a 59 tooth gear, which is one of these, which drives an 86 tooth gear, which drives another 60 tooth gear, if I have that correct. Now there's 2 other configurations. The configuration that I had was this top configuration here in this picture. It has 59 teeth at the top, 59 teeth at the bottom, 118 tooth gear driving another 59 tooth gear that drives an 86 tooth gear out the output. That's the configuration that I have. And if I'm reading this correct, that buys me millimeter and module or diametral pitch threads. So anyway, we're going to have to get stocked up on some 1.75 module gears in order to make some of these options happen. So there you go. That is the situation with the lathe right now. Had another little tidbit become available locally real cheap, so I'm going to take the camera over and take you some pictures of that. This is a future project, and I think you'll agree it was worth the trip. Sometimes you can't pass them up. So what you saw there was a Baldor 1215W grinder, 2 horsepower, 12-inch wide wheel grinder that I picked up over in Jackson for the princely sum of a couple $100. Turns smoothly. Have not powered it up. Bearings may be shot. If they are, no big deal. It's exactly the same as my other Baldor grinder. But on this one, we're going to do something a little different. we're going to turn this grinder into a deburr machine. And by a deburr machine, I'll show you a shot right now of a commercially available deburr machine. So you see how the guards, there's no rest, and the guards are cut at an extreme angle in order to give you access to a big surface, almost 180 degrees of wheel surface, but it is below the center line of the wheel, which is the safe place to buff and turn, buff and deburr and those types of things. It's below the center line of the wheel. So what I plan to do with this valve door here, gasp, I can hear the gasp in the comments already. I'm going to slice those covers just straight back, just like that, and we're going to turn these into, turn that machine into a deburr machine. We're going to have to do a hub for the 5-inch by 2-inch bore, which is common to a 12-inch common wheel or deburring wheel. This is a 2-inch bore, and we're going to make, or I'm going to try to do over here on the Scotch-Brite wheel, which that is a, I believe that is a Norton, what do they call that, Bear Tech wheel. It's not a Scotch-Brite brand, it's a Norton Bear Tech wheel. I'm going to try to do like a quick change type of setup to where you could change out those wheels quickly to utilize different types of deburring or polishing wheels without having to get out a wrench, remove the nut, blah, 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 put it all back on, which is just too slow. So we're going to try to do some sort of quick change type of setup for this size wheel, which is a 12 by 2 by 5. So ideas and comments about that down below, always welcome. Let's move over to the lathe and let's go over the controls on the carriage for the Martin 502. And there's a couple things that are, a lot of it's just real standard, just like traditional English style engine lathes. But there's a couple things that aren't really standard, so I want to go over those. So let's head on over there and let's check that out. All right, so here you go. Here's the carriage. The feed along the long axis here is normal. There's a very nice wheel here that's graduated in both imperial and metric, which is movable and lockable just like any other graduated wheel on the lathe. So this machine has both a feed rod and a lead screw. So in order to select which power source you're going to use, this right here, this lever engages the feed rod, down is engaged, up is disengaged. This lever here engages the lead screw. Of course, you have to be in position for that. Down is engaged, up is disengaged. So first you have to select how you're going to take power, and one of these two right here, right? So if you're going to be using the feed, you would select feed rod, then you can push this down for cross feed, and you can pull this up for feeding the carriage. Direction change is handled by a little handle right here. That direction there will feed the carriage away from the headstock and will feed the cross slide back towards the user position, the operator position. This position here, up, will feed towards the headstock and will feed away from the operator position as far as the cross slide goes. So it's a little different because you can choose your direction feed here without having to change a lever down at the other end of the machine. This is the oiler for the machine right here, and this obviously is the cross slide. It is graduated in inches, and one turn is 400 thou. So there you go. So you go 0.4 inches on one turn. On the longitudinal feed, it's graduated in both, and one full turn is one turn is 4 inches. One full turn is 4 inches. The carriage lock is here. The threading dial is here. There's a lever here that will engage the clutch in reverse or in forward, down. There is a sight glass here for oil in the apron. There's also a sight glass out here and a fill plug, separate fill plug for, I guess that's for oil for the quick change oil here. The compound is pretty darn rugged. 4 9/16 bolts, and the top of the cross slide here is graduated. This portion of the cross slide is proud of the rest of the cross slide by about an inch, so that the compound sits on here, and the graduations on the hand wheel for the compound are it's 2 thou per tick, and I believe the total is 0.2 inches. This is, I told you this one is, it's 1 thou per tick per mark here, with a total of 400 thou on the cross slide. So as a couple users pointed out, the machine does have a clutch. The motor does spin in one direction only. There's a high range and a low range, red being low, the black being high. We're currently in the lowest RPM range, which is 40 RPM. From the factory, the lathe has a brake on the spindle, which is obviously not hooked up. It's a DC powered brake and requires a separate DC power supply of fairly decent amperage, so that's going to have to be reverse engineered to figure out how to hook that back up and figure out what triggers it. I'm not real sure if it's automatic or if there's something you have to do to trigger it. Reverse is just up. We're going to try that was 40. That was 100. That was we were in 224 RPM. This is 112 RPM. Because I knocked it over into high range. That's 112. And we get it to 40 here. There we go. 40 RPM. All right, we're back over here, and you can see I've disassembled the drivetrain. The two gears that I showed you, one was the 59 tooth gears, one was here on the input into the quick change gearbox, which is right here, and one was here on the output from the headstock. This is the idler gear, which goes about right there. It is phenolic, not metallic. This is the one that was damaged. Right here. Again, it had so much grease on it I couldn't tell it wasn't metallic. Here's the gear that was at the top, riding on the 59 tooth gear. It has another 59 tooth gear here. And then this one is the 118 tooth gear. And all the teeth, excuse me, this is the one, this one's fine. None of the teeth were damaged here. However, it is still a phenolic gear. So there you go, that's an update on the lathe. What's going on with the change gears? So I've ordered some some 3/4 inch phenolic, and be a little thick, but not unusable. It'll be 19 millimeters instead of 18 millimeter face width. That's on the way. 1.75 module gears aren't real common, that's for sure. I did get some, if you saw my last video where I talked a little bit about the Char's electronic mic, which I really enjoyed. I've really enjoyed using. It's a quality electronic mic for a reasonable price. So if you can't afford Mitutoyo or Starrett or one of the more well-known brands, you can get one of these. Anyway, they sent me some stickers as well, and I'm gonna put that one right there. Anyway, so that Baldor project's probably going to be a little bit out. Probably start that after the Good of the Land Festival coming up, end of October, and then the Soule Steam Festival in Meridian, Mississippi, the weekend after that, first weekend in November. So anyway, if you're going to be at those, look forward to seeing you there. And be safe in the shop, and I'll be back with you soon. Oh, sorry about the audio. I busted the mic on my lavalier mic, had to order a new one. Pain in the butt, right? So I went ahead and ordered like 3 of them so that I have some spares. But anyway, y'all have a good one.